Welcome to episode 23 of Connections Restored TV, an affiliate of the Bill and Callie Show Network. This is Amy Boswinkle. I am an intuitive and a women's energetic mindset marketing and strategy business coach. I am so excited to talk to you guys today about the connection to self and how we sometimes lose sense of who we are when events just suddenly pop up in our life. Have you guys ever had that happen to you before, where something just pops up in your life that you have to take care of? And it's not necessarily a traumatic or overwhelming thing. It's just something that requires your attention. And as you are putting all of your attention into completing the task or the experience that you're walking through, let's say a lot of you have kids who just went back to school, and maybe one of your children just went to college and they're going kind of far away, right? And so you have to put your life on hold just for a moment to help your child pack their bags and pack the car and drive them to their school and help them carry all of their belongings into their apartment or their dorm room or wherever it is they're staying, right? And you're making sure they have enough money and enough food and enough this and enough that, and you're giving them the life wisdom, right, that you have within you, and then you go back home and you just kind of deflate, right? You kind of lose yourself in a sense. Maybe someone in your family has become ill, right? And you've had to focus your attention on taking care of that ill person, or maybe somebody in your family is dealing with substance abuse, alcohol or drugs, binge eating disorder. Maybe they're not sleeping well, maybe they're depressed, maybe you're depressed, right? We lose sense of ourself and the confusion around this, right? Because literally what's happening is it's affecting our mental, our emotional, our spiritual well-being, and in time, it's going to affect our physical well-being. And as this is occurring, as we're putting all of our attention and all of our energy into something else, we lose sense of who we are. And as we lose sense of who we are, we get disconnected from the things that make us happy. And literally what's happening inside of our body is there's these small chemical hormonal reactions that are occurring. A lot of my background is in alternative health, because as I was healing myself from alcoholism, heroin addiction, and binge eating disorder, I studied the human body nonstop in an alternative approach when conventional medicine wasn't working for me. And so I have great understanding of chakras and medical intuition, because those are the things that worked for me. And as I was studying the chakras, what I literally learned is that these small, subtle little shifts in hormones in the body can cause incredible disruption in the biochemistry of what is going on. And the biochemistry, as I've talked about in previous videos, for those of you who have watched me, for those of you who haven't watched me, there are 22 prior videos, and a lot of them I'm talking about biochemistry and emotions. But our biochemistry comes off track, and our biochemistry is a direct result of our emotions and how we're dealing with the experiences that we're walking through in our life. And this topic is really, really, really important to me, because I find myself, whenever I am dealing with an experience with another person or even myself, I will literally put all of my attention and focus on the issue or the experience at hand, and in time forget to take care of myself, to give myself the self-care that I need, the self-love that I need. And in this disconnection, I lose sense of my identity, right? Not meaning that I forget that I'm Amy Boswinkle, or that I gain amnesia, or that I'm a woman or anything like that, but I gain amnesia in my sense of identity around that I'm a runner, and that I like to eat healthy, and that I like to get adequate amounts of sleep, because my focus is on making sure that another person is being taken care of, and I am literally giving all of my energy and all of my power away. So The first thing that I have to recognize and understand is, as human beings, we love to help people. And what that does is it allows for a hormone called dopamine to be emitted in our brain. Dopamine is a feel-good hormone, right? Because we all love to help the people that we love. It makes us feel needed. It makes us feel wanted. It makes us feel like we have a sense of belonging with them. It makes us feel safe, right? Love, safety, and belonging are the three basic needs that all human beings need in order to feel like they have a strong foundation, like that they feel like they have a purpose in this world, right? So one of those three things is threatened, love, safety, or belonging. Our whole world is going to get disrupted and our emotions are going to shift. We're going to go to frustration or fear or guilt or shame or disappointment or whatever those lower vibrational feelings are. And as this occurs, what is happening within our central nervous system, because the central nervous system is loading up fear that we're about to die, because the central nervous system is very prehistoric, right? And it only knows life or death. It's sending signals to the brain, and the brain is sending signals back down the spine to the adrenal glands, and the adrenal glands are emitting more cortisol and more adrenaline out into the body so that we can literally walk through the experience in a way that allows for our human to stay intact. Right? Because cortisol and adrenaline literally help the heart stay nice and healthy so that the heart doesn't have a heart attack. Our human body is so miraculous, friends. It's always doing everything in its power to keep us alive, and we don't even have to think about it until something goes wrong, right? Whenever our health becomes too compromised, and we can tell that our energy is down, we're not sleeping as well, we're more depressed than normal, we're experiencing extreme amounts of anxiety. A lot of times it has to do with with a very imbalanced hormonal release in the adrenal glands and in other areas of the body, because now as we're emitting more cortisol and more adrenaline into the body to deal with the experience that we're walking through, such as, and it can be very minor, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that it's traumatic. Taking our child to school, maybe a family member is ill, that's a little more traumatic, right? Because now there's worry and there's fear around another person's health. But as we're doing that, we're literally creating this codependency between our own feelings, because we, as that person that we're caring for is going through what they're going through, and we're giving all of our power, and it is not a bad thing to help other people as they're going through various experiences in life. When we are completely and totally focused on those other people and not doing things to fill up our own energetic cup first, and that doesn't have to take a long amount of time, then we're going to start to create these imbalances of the hormones in our body. And as we do this, we get depressed, because as that person gets healthy, as our child acclimates and is happy at school, and we go back home and we go back to our routine, that deflation that we go through, because what is literally happening is we're emitting too much dopamine from our brain, because we like to help and we want to do, and it feels good to give, right? We start to come back down into this sense of normalcy, because those little dopamine hits make us feel really, really good. And what I found on the journey of drug addiction and alcoholism is that a lot of times alcoholics and drug addicts, especially those who are addicted to uppers like amphetamines and cocaine and crack and things of that nature, there's a lot of dopamine hits going on, and you feel good for short bursts of time, but then you really deflate really, really quickly. Well, for those of you who don't use drugs, that happens too. When we are helping people, when we have a sense of helping others, we're emitting that dopamine and we feel really, really good, even though it's a very subconscious thing. And then as we return back to ourself and those levels go back down and our hormones start to normalize, and we're like, oh, What do I do for myself again? Who am I? And we find it hard to get back to those routines that are actually healthy for us, like drinking plenty of water, eating healthy food, exercise, right? Body movement is very, very helpful for the serotonin levels, another hormone in the body that allows us to feel good because we lose sense of who we are. So as we're going through these experiences in life, if we remember to prioritize ourselves as first, and it doesn't have to require a whole lot of time. If you give yourself 30 minutes, 60 minutes, if you're already used to a particular routine and you continue to follow it to the best of your ability as you are helping another person out on their journey, what you're literally doing is you're prioritizing yourself as first, and you're creating a semblance of balance in your body for your hormones, right? Because it's the hormone imbalance, and hormones get disrupted because of our emotions. Our emotions, when we feel fear, guilt, shame, frustration, excitement, happiness, elation, right? Those hormones create an imbalance in the biochemistry of our body. But it's those lower vibration emotions when we're literally in fear, and we're emitting fear and fear and fear and guilt and what ifs, and what if this doesn't work, and what if they don't get better, and what if they don't do well in school, and what if and what if and what if, and like, right, all those lower vibration what ifs where we're literally creating what if everything goes wrong. I know that I have definitely been guilty of this in my life, but I learned to retrain the way that I think and the way that I perceive circumstances and experiences in my life. And as I retrained and refocused the way that I saw life and the way that I experienced life, and I started to tell myself a new story, then my hormones started to, right? Because my emotions stayed more balanced, I became more emotionally intelligent. My hormones stayed more in balance too. But most people are addicted, whether they know it or not, to the emotional highs and lows of life. And this is literally creating disease in our world. And it's so important for me to be able to share this information with all of you, because these are things that I didn't know when I was young and I was dealing with depression and anxiety because I didn't feel like I fit in this world, because I felt very different from everybody, because I literally got made fun of, and perhaps maybe even bullied might be a word that people would use. I don't necessarily use that word myself, although I have expressed it in videos. But I just know that I felt different, and I know that I didn't fit in, and I know that words were exchanged with me that from other people as I was growing up, people that I went to school with, that were very hurtful and harmful, and made me think very differently of myself, because I was also incredibly shy, and I didn't know how to express myself. I didn't know how to go home and have conversations with my parents and let them know what I was going through, because in my household we hid our feelings. I learned to hide my feelings when I was young because things were hidden. And my mom showed me like that she hid bills and things like that, because my mom was a prescription opiate addict, and she would hide the bills, and who knows where that money went, right? So and then she would put on this face of like, everything's great, everything's fine, nothing is wrong, right? So those like sad feelings in my household were hidden. And so I didn't know how to express myself. And so I would always be feigning this happiness and showing the world, and even my parents and my family and my what close friends I had, that everything was always fine, when really, it really wasn't. And so I really didn't know how to deal with my emotions. So I lived inside of myself in a bubble of depression and rage and anger and shame and guilt and fear for many, many years in my life. The first 40 years of my life, that's the way that I lived my life, right? So as I started to gain more knowledge around how that was creating this dysbiosis in my hormones, and how that was literally creating disease in my body, and preventing me from my own happiness. And literally all I had to learn to do was move my body, right? The shift for me and the shift for most people is prioritizing ourselves as first, practicing self-love, practicing self-care, practicing self-acceptance, right? Being able to look in the mirror and love ourselves fully for who we are, for who we see. Perceived flaws and all, because we are our own worst critics. At least I know that I was and can still be at times whenever I'm falling off track or feel like I have disconnected from myself and shifted and not standing in my identity as Amy Boswinkle, who, chooses meditation and chooses to run and chooses body movement and to take care of herself and chooses healthy food and drinks, adequate amounts of water and make sure she gets plenty of sleep. Because as human beings on this planet who care about other human beings, at times we may get lost in the process, but it can be prevented. And the prevention techniques are as follows. As I stated just a moment ago, it is about prioritizing ourselves as first, right? Are you walking away when you need to walk away? Are there other people who can help you through whatever experience it is you're walking through? So let's say you're caring for an ill parent or an ill child or an ill husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever it is. Are there other people you can enlist for support, right? It's about getting a great support system and asking for help when needed and getting rid of the notion that so-and-so can't, so-and-so can't, so-and-so is not as good as me, so-and-so is, right? Because we're going to create stories that this brother or this sister or this person or that person is not going to do it as good as we can. And that may very well be true. But can they handle an hour? Can they handle 2 hours? Can they handle an overnight? Can they handle, right? Like, and are they willing to step up to the plate and do that? Because if they're not willing to step up to the plate and do that, then there's another plan that needs to be created. But it's about, and then you can go to, do we need to hire somebody in? Do I need to hire in a caregiver or someone who can help out with, cleaning or cooking or something like that, so that you can get the adequate amount of sleep that you need, so that you can connect to self, so that you can go and take walks and clear your head, right? Because nature has lots and lots of oxygen in it. And why does it have lots and lots of oxygen in it? Because that's what trees and flowers do. They produce more oxygen, right? Because as we're going through events that aren't very pleasant, we're most likely shallowly breathing. Not only are we creating creating emotions that are lower vibration, where we're in fear states, but those emotions are affecting our hormones. And as those hormones are out of balance, the central nervous system is turned on hardcore. It is hardwired to keep us alive, and we're going to shallow breathing. As we're shallowly breathing, we're not getting enough oxygen into our body. Oxygen is life, right? Oxygen is literally life. So we can go and we can take a walk. It doesn't have to be a long walk, but we can connect to the trees and the flowers and the things that actually are oxygen producing and take in more oxygen. Maybe you live near the ocean, right? Because the ocean emits ions. Ions are positive and negatively charged, and they're created from all of the minerals, because the ocean is very mineral rich, right? And so those ions go out into the air, and we can start to breathe in more oxygen, and we can start to feel more like ourself. And as we feel more like ourself, we're practicing self-care. We're learning to love ourselves more into alignment, to where we're not disconnected from who we are, from our identity, right? So a support system is always going to be incredibly important. Prioritizing ourselves as first is always going to be very important. Getting yourself into a community of like-minded people who will help you along the journey. So if you are looking to, practice better self-care, find a community of people who practice self-care, because who you surround yourself with will allow you to have more of the things that you desire in your life. If you are surrounding yourself with people who are worrywarts and have lots of anxiety and are always seeing everything go wrong, that's what you're going to get more of in your life, and you're going to stay disconnected, and you're going to have those emotions of fear and anxiety and depression and guilt and shame and fear and all of those things, right? Because who you surround yourself with is the direct result of who you are being in your life and who you are staying connected to. So, right, yes, you're going to be surrounded by people like that in your life, but you can find a community of people who are higher vibration, who are going to remind you frequently and love you fully when you fall off track, and you share authentically how it is that you're feeling, and they will very gently always continue to remind you, hey, you know what, if you just did this, here's a positive thought, here's this, right? To always be reminding us of the person that we desire to be instead. Also prioritizing your sleep, making sure you're eating foods that give you energy rather than take it away. A lot of times people get confused when I say this, so I'll touch upon that for a moment. So I want you to think about foods that you eat, that you ingest and digest into your body, that when you eat these foods, it literally gives you energy. It makes you feel full. It makes you feel alive. It makes you feel full of life, right? That's food that gives you energy. Food that takes your energy away are foods that make you feel sluggish or tired or unmotivated. I would imagine that most of you know which foods I'm talking about here. For me, that's greasy food or heavy food, like if I eat too many simple carbs, which I love, by the way, like spaghetti and things of that nature. But I watch those things because it literally will bog me down, because I will overeat it because it tastes good. Right? Do you guys ever have that too? I would imagine that some of you understand exactly what it is I'm talking about. So, right, eating foods that give us energy, and practicing something like body movement, meditation, a visualization, getting yourself into a class, maybe a yoga class or something that is going to be calming to the central nervous system, but also allow for those hormones to become more balanced, because the more adrenaline and cortisol we emit from our adrenal glands, the more it's going to start to affect the other hormones in our body. So the adrenal glands are connected to our root chakra, and in time it's going to start to affect our sacral chakra, and our sacral chakra is our reproductive organs in this country. And that's connected to progesterone, estrogen, and testosterone. In our country, infertility here in the United States, infertility is on the right in unsurmountable amounts. And in very young people. At the health food store I used to work at, the last couple of years that I worked there were very young people, young couples in their 20s who were experiencing infertility. Right? So there's a lot of stress going on in our country. There's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of pressure. People don't know how to connect to their inner peace, to their inner self-love, to their inner mechanism that allows them to be more in that space and state of emotional intelligence and inner peace and joy, right? Where we're literally connected to self. And that in turn affects the solar plexus chakra, which is connected to our pancreas and insulin, right? Which then travels up, and all repressed, stuck emotions get stuck in our heart chakra, and that is connected to our thymus, right? And that is our immune system. And then that travels up to our throat chakra, which is connected to our thyroid. So that's about our metabolism, which is then travels up to our third eye chakra and our crown chakra, which deals with our pituitary gland and our pineal gland, right? So it's all about making sure that the balance is there. And I might have interchanged the pineal and the pituitary gland. But that is what it affects here in the brain. And so that affects anxiety, depression, sleep, connection to something greater, all of those things. And as that occurs, then we're literally disconnected from our human body because we're literally living in survival mode at that point. Okay, so what I want you guys to do is just practice a little bit more self-care, practice a little bit more of connecting to self, and you can go out into the world and help other people. It's not about not helping other people, but when we're prioritizing ourself as first, not waking up in the morning, putting on our shoes and going and getting at it. A lot of times people will revert back to, you know, waking up and their mind starts going, and these are the things that I have to do. And then they get really, really, really caught up in what is next and what they have to do in their life, instead of giving themselves just a few moments of reprieve, a few moments of connection to self, a few moments of remembering who they are, and calming down that central nervous system response. This is so important, right? Because as our emotions are traveling up and down on this roller coaster of, you know, like feeling wanted and needed is a really good thing, but also it can be very, very draining and cause burnout. And we're literally playing with our hormones. Dopamine, cortisol, adrenaline, all of those things are going out into our body and creating a dysbiosis in the rest of the hormones in our body. In time, what that creates is greater disease, such as, you know, diabetes, high blood pressure, digestive distress, anxiety, depression, maybe in time, right, greater disease states, such as cancer and irritable bowel syndrome and greater digestive distress disorders. So I hope you guys found this video valuable. If you did, please make sure you share it out into your audience. I am always so grateful and appreciative for those who do share the video, because if you gain value from this video, I would imagine that there are people in your life that would gain value from this video as well. I always love being connected to the Bill and Callie Show Network. They really showcase some really amazing people. So please make sure you like and follow the Bill and Callie Show. They're amazing people doing amazing things in this world. As I said, showcasing amazing human beings who are here to shift, change, and evolve humanity. And if you feel connected to me, please make sure you follow my business page here on Facebook, Connections Restored. Don't be shy to reach out if I struck a chord with you. I would love to have a conversation, answer any questions that you have. You can friend request me here on Facebook, Amy Boswinkle, AMIEE, and I appreciate each and every one of you. And just in case nobody told you this today, or if you've already heard it and you just desire to hear it again, I love you. You're amazing. You're incredibly valuable. And you are so worthy of having a healthy and happy life. And it is my honor to be of service to each and every one of you every week. Talk to you guys soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
This episode of The Bill and Callie Show is brought to you by Green Balance Hemp and Wellness. Hi everybody, and welcome to our very first bi-monthly Green Balance Hemp and Wellness fan club and beverage of your choice girls get together. And I guess I'll start first. Obviously, you all know I'm Callie, and I have to say that my favorite Green Balance product is the essential oil infusions. It is this topical relief oil. It's in a roller ball. I put it on First of all, it smells amazing. I can put it on my temples for headaches. I can rub it all over, and it's got this cooling sensation, and it just keeps me kind of chill and zen all day. So why don't we start? We'll introduce everybody. Lily, why don't you tell everybody what your favorite product is?
Well, I too love all their products, but as a certified fashionista and a makeup artist to the stars, I would have to say that my favorite products are the 100 milligram face serum and of course the orange and honey lip balm, because in my line of work, having lovely skin is so important, and I even tell my clients if they want their skin to be smooth and radiant, the face serum is amazing, and definitely the lip balm keeps your lips so smooth and luscious. Oh, that would be my favorite.
Okay, now we're going to go over to our new member, Denise. Oh, me? Well, like you, I like all their products, but if I had to choose my favorite, I would have to say that as a wife of a husband who travels an awful lot, and as the mom of 6 really active kids, my favorite product would have to be the 500 milligram CBD oil. I put 2 drops under my tongue every morning, and it really helps me get through the day. I mean, when you've got 2 sets of twins and 2 teenagers, you need all the help you can get. Okay, next we're going to introduce Gwendolyn.
Oh, my turn. Well, I mean, obviously, all of their products are bloody brilliant, right? But I have to say that my favorite would have to be the vetiver and sage CBD infused soap. I mean, my skin is so incredibly sensitive, and so whenever I use a product, it either used to leave it so dry and crepey feeling, or else it was so greasy feeling. Well, this soap is just brilliant on my skin. I mean, it is soft and soothing and just feels wonderful all over. I mean, yes, I love all their products, but if I had to choose, that would be my favorite.
And now we're going to talk to Naya.
Well, I do love their CBD pet drops, but if I had to pick my favorite, it would have to be the Green Balance Paw Balm. My paws sometimes will get itchy or bother me, and when I put this on, it makes them feel much better.
Well, thank you everybody for coming today to enjoy our very first bi-monthly meeting, and let's make sure that we get out there and tell everybody how much we love Green Balance Hemp and Wellness, and how you can go onto their website to get all the information for the great products that they sell. All right, see you guys in 2 weeks. Bye.